Hey, how's everybody doing today? Cobra here for Cobra Trading. So today I wanted to, given what the market is doing, I wanted to go over some basic Fibonacci relationships in terms of Elliott wave theory, because a lot of people keep asking me, okay, well, how are you predicting these wavelengths ahead of time? How are you, assuming targets down here and, and things like that. So I just kind of wanted to go over how exactly that works. I'm not going to go over it super in depth. I might do a tutorial on it later on, but I just want to give a brief overview and explain a little bit before I go into measuring all of this, exactly how that works. So basically, you've got the measurement of all of these waves, right? You've got a basic 5 wave sequence like we got here. We've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've got a 5 down here, and you've got, a sub 5 wave sequence inside from, from this third wave. So basically how you end up getting targets for this stuff is you end up using Fibonacci and using measurements and fib retracements and stuff, which I do a lot. You see me using the fib measurement tool all the time, and I use the retracement tool, and the extension tool rather, to find my projective targets of where these waves should be ending. So wave 2 is always going to be related to wave 1, whether it's 50% or that golden ratio 61.8%, between that and 65. We call that the golden pocket, which I'm sure you've heard me say before. And wave 3 is always going to be related to wave 1, because wave 3 is either 1.618 the length of wave 1 or 2.618 the length of wave 1, or in rare cases of extreme extension, it's 4.25 the length of wave 1. So the most common multiples of 1.618, and those are the most common multiples of 1.618 and 2.618. However, if the third wave is an extended wave, then 2.618 and 4.25 ratios are going to be the most common for those. Bitcoin and obviously cryptocurrencies are going to be a little different in this case because it's lower liquidity and they're a little bit higher manipulated, so they vary. But in general, these are going to be, the rules for this. These are general Fibonacci Elliott wave rules. So for wave 4 is always going to be related to wave 3, in which it's either 24% of wave 3, which in terms of Fibonacci, actually, let me go ahead. I'll just scroll over to a blank part. So when you measure a Fibonacci, this is what you get, right? Okay. So you get all of these wonderful measurements here. Okay. So I'll just leave this here so I can kind of explain it to you guys. So wave 3, I already went over that. So wave 4 now is always going to be related to wave 1, in which it's either 24%, which is this 236 level, or 38.2%, which is this level, or half of wave 3, which is this level. So normally it's going to be somewhere in here. Now, there's no specific target for that. Those are just the most common areas. And normally that's what ends up happening. These are all, obviously these levels are all based on the Fibonacci numbers. So if wave 3 is greater than 1.618 down here, I don't really need this negative 1 on at all. I don't really need that. Where was I? If wave 3 is less than 1.618, then basically the ratios are that wave 5 would overextend itself. So basically everyone that's done research on this stuff has proven that the ratio of wave 5 will be based on an entire length of the beginning of wave 1 to the end of wave 3, meaning that wave 5 is either 0.618 the length of wave 1 to the top of wave 3, or 1.618 of the length of the beginning of wave 1 to the top of wave 3. So I know that this is a little confusing with me just kind of, going in and just talking about this. So what I want to do is I'll go ahead and I'll just give a couple examples of this right now. So okay, so how did I find this this 5 down here, which I put at about $2,500, okay? So let's go ahead and we'll take off this this subwave real quick. Wherever that is. Where is it? Yeah, let's go ahead and take off the subwave. Let's go ahead and we'll take off. We'll take that off too. Let's take off all of these other Elliott wave labels and trend lines and all this other stuff real quick. All right. I'll leave that. Okay. So with just this wave that I have measured right now, this is basically how things work. Given with what I just explained, when you get the ratios for wave 2 is always related to wave 1. It's either 50% or 61.8% of wave 1. So when you measure from here to here, okay, wave 2. Now, obviously my label is up here, but when you zoom in and you look at where this candle closed, well, where did the candle close? The candle for wave 2, which, is up here, my magnet put it up there. Where is it going to be? Well, it's right here. 0.5 is right here. It's always between 0.5 and 618. Both of these candles actually are right here. So if you wanted to count this as the actual wave 2, which I've seen a lot of people doing, which it makes sense, because this is obviously clear manipulation here, in crypto. That would make sense. It's between 0.5 and 618. So that makes sense. That's that relationship right there. That's how that works. Now, when we progress forward, when we're talking about wave 3 is always related to wave 1. It's either 1.618, 2.618, or 4 1/4. So let me just go ahead and make sure that my 4 1/4 is on here so I can show you guys. 4 1/4, 2.618, 1.618. Okay, cool. So basically, again, you would measure, of course, you'd measure from the top of the wave 1 to the end of the wave 1, right? Okay. Well, obviously I have to reverse this because now we're measuring in the opposite direction. So, by the way, I'm only using the fib retracement tool for this. I'm not using the extension tool. The extension tool is different. I mean, I guess I could show you how that would work with this, but for now, in all intents and purposes, I'm just going to hit the reverse button on this. So, okay, so down here you can see that wave 3 ended up being down here. It's beyond 2.618, but it's less than 4 1/4, way less. So obviously that would be closer to, the 2.618 over here. It's within, what is this? $400, okay? So that's wave 3. So yes, obviously that is extended. So since this is extended, obviously the two, whenever it's a third wave and it's extended, the measurement of it being between 2.618 and 4 1/4, those are going to be the two most likely measurements for an ending extended wave 3. So now, since we want to find out, okay, what's the ratio for wave 4? How do we find out where our wave 4 is going to go? So we go ahead and we measure, and wave 4 is, it's like I said, it's related to wave 3 by the following. It's either 23.6% of wave 3, 38.2% of wave 3, or 50% of wave 3, given those Fibonacci levels. So you measure from the end of 2, to your 3 or whatever, so in this case, let's go ahead and use this one, 2 to 3. I think this is still reversed, right? Yeah. I'm confusing myself on this. So, sure enough, it didn't quite hit 382, and it didn't exactly land on 236, but we're in this range here. That's our wave 4, between 23.6 and 38.2%. Bam, nailed it. It's right in the middle here, right at our resistance line. This obviously I got from price action. So now, okay, so how do you go through and you calculate wave 5? Well, like I said, it's either equal to wave 1, or it's 1.618 the length of wave 1, or it's 2.618 the length of wave 1. Now, if wave 3 is less than 1.618, which in this case it's not, there's different ratios for that, and that's when wave 3 is not the extended wave. However, in crypto, normally wave 3 is always going to be extended. We find that that's the case for the majority of impulse waves that we see here. So for purposes of this video, I'm only going to go into the length of how it's given here. So basically, it's going to be, I'm basically going to end up measuring the length of wave 1, and then that should be like 2.618 or whatever the length of wave 5. And I'm not sure if I can do this with the retracement tool. I might have to do this with the I don't think that's going to work. Might have to do this with the actual extension tool here. Hold on 1 second. Sorry guys, I've been sick and it hasn't been good. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna do this with the extension tool instead, like I said. So you basically go from the start of wave 1. So the start of wave 1 would be here, and then you go to the end of wave 3, which would be here. But since I'm measuring downwards, this obviously has to get reversed. So you'd end up with levels like this. Actually, I'm supposed to be going from here because we're going down. Sorry about that. Yeah, beginning of wave 1. I think that's the highest. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, to the end of wave 3. Let me go ahead. I keep confusing myself with like reversing this and stuff because it's not supposed to be I'm not supposed to be doing this with the retracement tool. I should be doing this with the extension tool because it's a little more accurate. Whoops. Okay, so basically that's how you end up measuring wave 5. Now, obviously, yeah, see, it's not even putting all of the it's projecting it way down here. Obviously, we're not going to be going down to $610 or something like that. And I actually think that I just did this incorrectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and measure because that's what you're supposed to do with the retracement tool, or the extension tool rather. So I'm just going to go ahead and measure from the 3 to the 4 and turn this reverse off, because that's how you're going to do it with the retracement tool. Sorry about that. I ended up confusing myself because there's 2 different tools. Anyway, so this is how I end up getting my projection for where wave 5 is going to go. Now, the other way, because it's 6, that's 1.618. So, anyway, the other way to do this is to draw channel lines. If you don't like drawing with, and doing the whole Fibonacci number thing, the other way to do this is with trend lines. So, if you wanted to do this with trend lines, basically what you would do is, and I guess I can illustrate this with this wick being the top of wave 2 or whatever, like I had it. I guess it doesn't really matter because either way I'm going to come out with the same target. But basically you can draw trend lines. Let me turn my magnet on. You would basically draw trend lines from wave 2 to 4 and extend it all the way down. And I'm just going to use this line as a reference point down here. So you take the top of waves 2 and 4 and you make sure that those are touching. and then you take wave 1 and 3 and make sure that those are touching. Now here's the thing about this. When you draw a horizontal channel like this, and I'm just going to go ahead and line these up. That's pretty much as horizontal as I can get it. There is a horizontal channel tool on here, but I'm doing this for a reason. You can also take the top of the wave 1 candle as well and project that down as well. And I like doing this because it gives you a multiple set of targets here. And as you can see from the top of that wave 1 candle, it actually lines up real well with all of these other wicks and the bottoms of these candles and everything. So, and this is how I got my wave 5 target here, just like that. Boom. Obviously, my box wouldn't be that big, but yeah, somewhere in here, you know, I think is a pretty good bet for where our wave 5 is going to end. Somewhere between, you know, potentially 2600 up here, the corner of this box, to somewhere down here, about 22, whatever. You know, and another part of Elliott wave is, you know, it having the right look. So, you know, if you draw an arrow from here down, you know, to illustrate, okay, what would wave 5 look like from this? You know, it looks correct with how an Elliott wave should be. If I take this and I put the wave on and I move this out of the way, turn off log. You know, that's a pretty decent Elliott wave. You know, and just like I said, when you go through and you measure all of these points and everything, like we just did, you know, it should come out pretty accurately. So I'm going to actually move that back down. I don't want to lose my yeah, I don't want to lose my my wave count on that and have to redo it. But basically, guys, that's pretty much how I go through and I find, that's how I try to go through and I find targets on longer time frames. Keep in mind that I've been doing this on a day chart, so you know, it might look a little different, perhaps even kind of weird on a you know, 4-hour chart or something like that. But in general, you know, right here is basically where I would expect my you know, my target to be, is inside this box somewhere. You know, is it guaranteed to happen? No. I mean, this entire count that I have right here could be, you know, invalidated if we keep impulsing up here, and this entire count could be wrong, and I'll have to go back and redo it. But unfortunately, with Elliott wave, you can never have your count validated or invalidated until there is more information there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and leave this up, and I'll post it for my members in the Discord. Speaking of the Discord, the link for that is down below. If you guys want to go ahead and get in there, for right now it is free, and we do education, I do tutorials, all of that stuff, which obviously I'm going to be posting on YouTube as well. But we don't do trade calls in there. That's not what we're about. We focus more on education, fundamental analysis of coins, and, you know, other market stuff. You know, we don't just do cryptocurrency and things like that. We also I like to also focus on you know, what the Dow Jones is doing and other stocks, you know, traditional stocks and Forex and things, which I don't see a lot of other people doing. So if you guys want to go ahead and get in there, we'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and comment and let me know what you want to see more of in the future. Outside of that, that's really all I got for you today. Stay safe out there, and if you're trading against the trend, always remember to employ stop losses to reduce your risk as much as possible. And that's really all I got. Stay safe. Happy trading.